Hi, all. This is Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York, where the weather is rainy, where the temperatures are warm, but Wall Street was on the coolish side today. The rain came down just as hard on Wall and Broad as it did in Long Island. And it rained dogs, not cats. It wasn't a good day for the market. It wasn't a terrible day, don't get me wrong. Basically had treading water type day. Basically, the prices didn't move much on the major indices or on the FANG stocks, at least the ones I follow. So we're going to look at the Dow, Apple, Amazon, and the NASDAQ. Why not? We're going to look at these four names, and we're going to examine the weekly charts. And it's kind of sobering to me because I was enjoying some irrational exuberance on Wednesday. And by Friday, it's kind of faded to the point where I'm cautious that on the market going forward, I think we're going to retest some key levels before we can possibly move up again. And there's so much uncertainty facing us as we enter the new year. I'm not quite sure that the bulls are going to be able to pull it off. Well, we're going to talk about that throughout the vlog tonight, whether there's enough oomph left for that major thrust that it's going to take to break away from this downtrend and to start a real uptrend. Okay, so we're going to look at the weekly, and we're going to look at these those names from that perspective. Do your own due diligence, of course. As always, my opinions are strictly my own, do not constitute investment advice. Occasionally I have some good ideas, even great ideas, but follow at your own risk. Please subscribe. It's down there somewhere, the subscribe button if you haven't already. And also share the link and write comments and give me a thumbs up. Do all those good things for good old Dr. J. All right, here goes. We're going to go into the video charts without further ado. It is late at night, at least for Dr. J. So I want to keep this short and to the point. So let's go. That means I'm going to have to suppress my tendency for blabbering. I don't know if I can do that. But we'll try. We will try. We will try to blabber less and say more meaningful things. So this is the Dow. And notice when you look at it, put it on the weekly chart, the week as a whole has a fairly short green body compared to the week before, compared to 3 weeks before. So it looked like a phenomenal 1,000-point move on Wednesday, 100-point move on Wednesday, is not reflected in the weekly. In fact, the weekly doesn't look weak, but it doesn't look particularly strong. We held support just where we're supposed to hold support, and that's a good thing, right about 21.7. And I expect that we're going to retest that level or somewhere in between on Monday. So I think Monday will be a down day. I think possibly the first few days of the new year may be down days. The question is, will this new key level of support at 21.7 hold? And really, what the market has to overcome are headwinds that include possible Mueller indictments of the President of the United States, the shakeups in the White House, including Mattis leaving, including military maneuvers, removing our troops from Syria and half of our troops from Afghanistan, the government shutdown, which is going into the second week, the problem with immigration, in particular at our southern border. What else? I don't know. It goes on and on. So the Federal Reserve hiking, all kinds of things. The possibility of an inverted yield curve. It's not that far apart between the 2-year and the 10-year. We have a lot of headwinds. Despite the headwinds, we made some progress this week. At least it wasn't a red candle. It was a green candle, but it had a long shadow, a long lowish shadow. So, and it had an upper shadow. So it didn't have a huge solid green body, which would have made me more optimistic. It's, again, not a bad candle compared to the last 3 weeks. It's a welcome candle, but we have to have a follow-up week of green. We need to break this high of the weekly high of 23,381. And I don't know if the bulls have it in them. We're going to find out. Amazon.com. I have a feeling that some of my gains are going to evaporate on Monday, as it too doesn't show that great on the weekly compared to the daily, where we may get another new low following the trend line down. I didn't draw it. I guess I could draw it. Draw a little trend line. We're just continuing the trend line on the weekly in the wrong direction, I'm afraid. All right, so I mean, you know, it's nothing to get excited about, actually, when you look at it on the weekly. Looking at it on the daily, let's take a quick look if it looks much better or not. Daily. Yeah, here's the daily, and come on, grab that. Okay, on the daily, we see we have essentially 2 candles with very small bodies. This one being a doji, and this one being a little what resembles a hammer. So this is sort of bullish, but it didn't break the high of the day before, of Wednesday. This did. Today we did break the high, but it's an unimpressive candle. The doji, of course, this one has an equal shadow above as the shadow is below, and there's practically no movement in price, minimum movement in price, up $16. So nothing happened here. It's a dead draw between the bulls and the bears. Not what you want to see in a turnaround situation, in a transitioning candle to a bull market. So it lacks goodness. It makes me think that Monday we might retest at least the low of, probably the low of yesterday. Maybe not on Monday, but sometime during the week, I think we retest the lows. And finally, Apple is more of the same on the weekly. It's following its trend line down. It doesn't look like much of a candle at all compared to the big red candle the week before. Unimpressive. And NASDAQ, take a look at that. Again, there was a huge red candle on a heavier volume last week than this week. Of course, we had a day off for Christmas, so it's unfair to compare the volumes. But this was pretty anemic volume for an up week, especially considering we had an 1,100-point move on the Dow and an corresponding 6% move that day on the NASDAQ. The volume just wasn't magnificent as it should have been. So I have some questions regarding the follow-through capabilities of the bulls going into next week. Doesn't mean I'm turning bearish. It just means we have to wait and see. And I'd rather be able to say up and away with greater certainty, but truthfully I cannot do that. So all I can say is we may have to grit our teeth a little bit, grind our teeth a little bit more, and get ready for another retest of the lows. Hopefully we pass the retest. You can think of yesterday's test of the pullback as a test of the 1,100 point gain that we passed, because it bounced off its lows of the day yesterday. Today was not as successful. We're going to have some more tests next week, and I hope, like good students, the bulls will study hard to pass these tests. This has been Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York, saying, please subscribe to my blog if you haven't already. Please share the link. And let me say sayonara, shalom, arrivederci. What else? Hasta mañana. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow. If not, I'll probably do something Sunday. So also look for the third class in charting sometime next week. If you haven't already, please view the first two lessons 1 and 2, which are which are up on my channel. I'll give a link at the end of this video. Take care. Bye.